Welcome everyone to my first build inside of Destiny 2 Renegades. I hope everyone has been enjoying it, but the time is finally here to provide you the content that you guys have been waiting for. Before I get started, I do want to give a little disclaimer. There will be absolutely no campaign spoilers at all for Renegades on the channel for maybe at least a week. The gameplay you're watching right now is Mythic difficulty inside of Edge of Fate campaign, and I just wanted to show this instead of the regular Renegades campaign in case people haven't gotten to it yet. So just heads up for that. If you have not finished the campaign, you're good to watch the rest of the video. Yesterday, on the day that the DLC dropped, I didn't even do the campaign. I got straight into the lab and started making 2 different builds for you guys. And I actually ended up putting up a poll to see what you preferred to see first. And you guys voted for the Graviton Forfeit build. So here we are. With Renegades, Graviton Forfeit received a huge buff. I'm not even going to try to sugarcoat it. This thing got giga buffed. It is a way different exotic now than it was before. And it is absolutely amazing. I am actually having so much fun with this exotic that I personally don't think I really ever used before, nor did I ever see anyone ever use in general. I'm gonna put a little picture on screen, but basically they just made it where Graviton Forfeit will now grant you ability energy based on the amount of times you have gone invis, and it does give you a little buff timer and all that jazz, but that is the gist of it. Well, we'll break it down a bit more later in the video, but just know that you have an insane amount of ability regeneration by using this exotic now. Now that may not seem like a whole lot, but Void was already decently good in that category, and this just makes it even better. I'm combining this with things like Vanishing Step and On the Prowl to just make it where we're going invis basically every couple of seconds, and I have it set up to where obviously we are getting a whole bunch of ability regeneration so that we can spam our smoke bomb and our grenade of choice. As soon as those patch notes dropped where they showed all the exotic changes, I had a very strong feeling that this thing was going to be very good and probably slept on, because I don't know how many people even really care about Graviton Forfeit or even cared to try it out. The build I have for you today is catered for all types of content. You can use this in literally anything you want. It has an insane amount of healing as well as crowd control, so feel free to do whatever you want with the build. As always, just like I mentioned in the poll, I will be uploading the build on the brand new exotic LMG from the reward pass probably in the next couple of days, so stay tuned for that. And just as another shout out, I am now posting my builds to Mobalytics, so if you look in the description, the build that you're watching in the video will be linked in there, so you can go feel free to check it out in a website version and copy the build to your inventory. But for now, let's go ahead and break down the details and show you why this build is as nasty as I am claiming. Alright, so first things first, let's actually go over the main character of this build, and that is going to be the Graviton Forfeit. Now, within Renegades, this thing got an insanely huge buff, because before, no one was really using it. I liked it, but that's just mainly because it looked really cool and I like going invis, but it didn't really have much of a purpose in endgame. Well, now it does. It comes with the armor perk Vanishing Shadow. Increases the duration of any invisibility effects, and when you gain invisibility, your grenade, melee, and class abilities will recharge faster, and at maximum stacks, you gain a void overshield as well. So to show you what that looks like, whenever I dodge, I have a buff called Vanishing Shadow. There is no timer, and that is because I am invis. The second I shoot my weapon, it now gives me a timer, and that will boost my ability recharge rate. One thing to note is this does stack every time you go invis, so if I leave invis, I kill this guy and I turn invis again. You can't really see it because of my too many buffs on the screen right now, but basically just know I have ×2 of the perk. I then go invis again. I am now at ×3, as you can see down there, and that just gives me an insanely boosted amount of ability regeneration. And one really cool thing to note is if you play it right, you should have basically infinite invis, because with the ×3 bonus to Vanishing Shadow, your class ability should actually come back before your invisibility runs out. Now for Graviton Forfeit, we're going to go ahead and be on the Void Night Stalker subclass. The first thing I want to go over is our aspects. In the first slot, we're just going to go with Vanishing Step. This is pretty straightforward. Whenever you do dodge, it makes you invisible. This is what allows you to have that easy infinite invisibility chain like I mentioned before. All right, and then the second aspect we're going to be using is On the Prowl. It has a long description, but basically what it does is whenever you turn invis, one random target will be highlighted. Kill that target, he drops a big weakening cloud of smoke. You walk through that, you turn invis. But honestly, the more important part that works really well with Graviton Forfeit is the bottom text there, where whenever you kill someone who is highlighted, you actually gain a big boost in your grenade, melee, and class ability energy. All right, so if we go ahead and go invis, once again, it'll mark a random target. But if I go ahead and throw both of my abilities, so I have no energy right now, kill him, you can see it gives me a big chunk of it, maybe about like a 1/5 to 1/4 of my slots. But the great part about this is that obviously you can turn invis and just keep chaining with it over and over again, especially with Graviton Forfeit, because that is also increasing how much our abilities recharge. So just the chain of Graviton Forfeit and those aspects allows you to basically have infinite invis, and I wouldn't say infinite ability spam, but close enough. You're not going to need more ability spam than this. If that doesn't sound interesting to you, honestly, all of these are great options. Running the smoke bomb, turning you invis, or running Stylus Executioner are all great options. These just basically just make it where you can turn invis more often, which I didn't really feel the need to do that, which is why I'm running on the prow. In terms of grenade, feel free to run whatever you prefer. I'm running Vortex Grenade just because it's my personal favorite. And then we're going to run Gambler's Dodge, just so since we're dodging a whole bunch using Graviton Forfeit, we will be getting our Snare Bomb. In terms of super that you want to use, it honestly is up to you. Just honestly keep in mind though that both of the tethers did get buffed in Renegades, so they are way better now, especially Movius Quiver. This thing provides an insane amount of damage output. I'm running Deadfall though, just because it's my personal favorite. Now, in terms of fragments, we have 5 fragment slots with this. In the first slot, we're going to run Echo of Persistence. This just makes it where our invisibility, overshield, and devour will have increased duration. We're then going to run Echo of Harvest. This makes it where whenever we defeat a weakened target, it will create an Orbit Power and a Void Breach. And this is huge because we are going to be killing a whole bunch of weakened targets because of On the Prowl proccing weaken with the smoke effect, our Snare Bomb obviously proccing weakening with just the regular smoke effect as well, but we're also going to be running Echo of Undermining here, where our Void Grenades will apply weaken. So you have 3 ways to apply weaken, so pretty much every kill you're getting should drop an Overpower or a Void Breach. And the next slot, we're going to run Echo of Starvation, where picking up a Void Breach or an Overpower will grant you Devour. This is obviously huge because we're going to be creating a whole bunch of orbs, and we want Devour up as much as possible. Then in the last fragment slot, I'm running Echo of Cessation? I've never had to pronounce that before. And then in the last fragment slot, we're going to run Echo of Remnants. This just makes it where our grenade will basically last longer. I'm running Vortex Grenade, and this pairs extremely well with that. So basically just to give you a little taste of what Graviton Forfeit plus all of the subclass stuff does, it'll look something like this. You just want to spam your abilities, go invis, find the marked target, kill him, spam your abilities over and over and over again. And honestly, nothing should be able to touch you with the amount of orbs you're creating, how often you're going invis, and the amount of ability spam you have. Obviously, the hardest part about this is just, I guess, playing your life enough to go and get Vanishing Shadow ×3. But once you do, you should be untouchable. Now, in terms of weapons to pair with this, there honestly isn't really anything specific. This build can carry its own just by using the exotic plus subclass stuff. I'm just running a void weapon just to fit the theme, and I went with Choir of One. So feel free to run whatever you want. One thing I can give a nice little shout out to is if you want to run a sword, and that is because of the artifact perks this season. Obviously, Renegades just came out yesterday, so I do not have any of these leveled up, so I haven't even really tested them. But just by reading what they do, these artifact mods seem insane. And the reason why I recommend a sword is because of Singularity Blade, where whenever you have a Void Elemental buff, which we will have like 3 or 4 of them, melee and sword hits will weaken targets, and melee and sword final blows will create a weakening burst. Not to mention that combined with the other sword artifact perks, it really seems like they just wanted to boost the lightsaber that came out this DLC. But these 3 artifact perks also are insane for swords. Basically just make it where this one gives it bonus damage, and this one just makes it where you can have penumbral blades spinning around you for sword kills. Other artifact perks to throw on if you are a XP grinder and actually have this done by now, I recommend you have Graviton Voltaic Charge. This just makes it where, since we have a Void Super, we have an increased armor charge. If you are running a Void weapon, go ahead and throw on Elemental Siphon. This just makes it where whenever you get rapid kills using that Void weapon, you can create Void Breaches. Throw on Power from Pain. This makes it where whenever you get rapid final blows against weakened combatants, it will grant you Devour. Obviously, we already have a whole bunch of Devour in this build. This will just add another layer on top of it so that we are always constantly proccing Devour. And then the last and final one that I really wish I had unlocked for this build, it kind of makes me wish I wasn't putting this out a day after the DLC because this artifact perk seems insane, and it's the artifact perk Void Infestation. This makes it where whenever you defeat a weakened target, it will spawn a tracking projectile that will weaken other targets. Obviously, like I mentioned before, we are killing a whole bunch of weakened targets. Pretty much almost every kill we're killing, they are going to be weakened, and this will just spread more weaken across the battlefield, which is never a bad thing. In terms of your stat distribution, I just recommend high grenade stat and high class stat, just so you can throw your grenades and your class ability as much as possible. From there, another thing I will recommend pretty much for every build ever is the smoke jumper set. If you are able to run this, feel free to put it on. This makes it whenever you pick up and overpower it, you gain a brief period of decaying damage reduction. And I know I sound like a broken record at this point, but we are creating a whole bunch of orbs of power, so you should always have smoke jumper procced. Now, in terms of mods on your helmet, go ahead and run harmonic siphon, and this only applies if you are running a void weapon. If you are not, feel free to slot in whatever you are using. And then 2 copies of dynamo just to boost how much super we get by using our class ability. On the arms, go ahead and throw on firepower and 2 copies of bolstering detonation. On the chest piece, run 2 damage resists that you prefer, and then I am running harmonic ammo generation. This is just because I am using a void weapon that is also a special ammo weapon, so I just want to have as much ammo as possible. But feel free, if you are running a sword, to throw in loosened blades, or feel free to slot in whatever energy type of weapon you're using in terms of ammo generation. On the boots, I'm running double void weapon surge. Remember to swap this out if you are not using a void weapon for whatever element you're using. And then harmonic scavenger, same thing, swap this out for whatever element you do plan on using. Then on the class item, I'm running 2 copies of Reaper just so we can create even more orbs. And then I am using special finisher. This just makes it where I can create ammo for my choir of 1. But if you are not in need of special ammo based on the weapons you're using, feel free to take this out and run either time dilation or powerful attraction, up to you. So yeah, that right there was the entire brand new buffed Graviton Forfeit build. If you have any questions or any changes, feel free to leave them down below in the comments. But for now, let's go ahead and take this build into some live gameplay for you. All right, for the build today, we're gonna go ahead and take it into Solo Op Caldera, the oh so iconic solo ops. We're gonna be on ultimate difficulty, which will put me personally at 43 light under. All right, so basically the way you want to open a fight is you want to start off by going invis and find whoever is marked by on the prowl. You then immediately want to kill him so that you can turn invis immediately again. We're then gonna find the next on the prowl target, kill him, turn invis again. So now we have banishing the buff, whatever, from Graviton Forfeit, I forget the name at the moment, at ×3. And from there, just spam your abilities and go invis over and over again. For something like this guy, we're gonna do this. Remember to grab your orbs of power and void breaches and all that goodness. Man, I can't wait to get those artifact perks. This build is gonna be even better once that happens. I'm sure some grinder out there already has the entire artifact like thing filled out. I am unfortunately not said grinder, but yeah, I'm excited. But basically, as you can see, pretty much after every kill, you can go invis. And obviously by using your dodge to go invis, you will get your smoke grenade back. It's kind of insane. Like I mentioned before, as soon as I saw the buff in like the preview we got where they talked about all the armor updates, I knew this thing was going to be disgusting. I was completely underrating it already. I did not expect it to be as good as it is. All right. Oh, I didn't even need to finish him there. My choir 1 actually got him. Interesting. All right, we're gonna run past everyone because we have invis. Actually, we're gonna kill this group of enemies at least. All right, there we go. Mainly just because I want to actually start the boss fight with ×3 of the buff. All right, there we go. You should be at ×3 now. We can open up with a nice little tether and lay into him with our void heavy weapon. Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned earlier, but yeah, so tether did get buffed and it's now the strongest form of weaken in the game, which is super, super cool actually. As a hunter main, it does give us a leg up on other things because now it might make, you know, a nice little deadfall tether kind of mandatory. All right, this guy. Hit him with both of these. And the choir 1 should do all the work. Yeah, absolutely love this weapon, man. Alright, going with that. I'm gonna get stunned, aren't I? Kill it! Kill it! No, okay. And kaboom. Alright. That was fun. I enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that. Oh, a new weapon. Actually, never even seen this before. Alright, but yeah, nonetheless, I kind of got distracted there reading perks on a new weapon, but that was the Graviton Forfeit build. At -40 light, that honestly was a breeze. Obviously, you just have to play your cards right, but that's with pretty much every build in the game. As always with all my builds, I do have a link to them on a website form down in the description, and that will also let you copy the build over to your character if you don't want to manually do it. So feel free to go check that out. Stay tuned for the Service of Luzaku build, like I mentioned earlier, coming out probably in the next couple of days. This thing has been a lot of fun. But yeah, that's gonna do it for me. If you made it this far, I love your face, and all you fine, ladies and gentlemen, have a great rest of your day.